Here we go. It is NewMutator, and I'm joined by Osmo, who has agreed to join me for these films. He is actually in this game, and he's actually captaining this team here, this red team. It is the Silent Sentinels, Kron 1, Lizard King, Pogue, Monty, Roadkill, Blonde, and Honky also in the game. And I think I mentioned that there's a lot of players on your team with kind of the O sound, right? Like Roadkill, Osmo, Kron,
Yeah,
Pogue,
I guess I never really
Monty,
thought of that, but
Honky,
yeah.
and Blonde, right? So it was pretty interesting. I noticed that in a previous cast, actually, I think. But anyway, you guys are going to be facing the black team, the Southern Parkians, led by Giant Killer General, Eastwind, Kruniak, Homer, Genghis Khan, Browning, Paris, and Craig are all on this team. And it is game number 3 in this match. So far, Southern Parkians, man, that game number 2 that could have been your game, but Southern Parkians ended up taking that. And I just wanted to mention that after the game ended, Lizard King, he did say that I guess he was lambasting you because you were the captain, but you ended up taking Tro. And what did you feel that was a big deal at all? That kind of was a hindrance for you?
Not really.
Not really.
Like I said off the cast, 2 trials. Not it might be a big percent, but it's not that many units, so you can still watch the map pretty good. I just made a mistake. Didn't work out. I had to take the trial one game because there's a joke about me having a trial belt. So I
Oh,
felt
there you
like I
go.
should have taken trial one game this match.
Well, I think it was working out until Southern Parkins just kind of outplayed you on the game type. But you were definitely, your team had the leg up on them in terms of percentages and units left. But we are here in game number 3. Can you tell me a little bit about this trade? What you're doing here?
Yeah, so for light units, I felt like the other team had an advantage here, and so it seems like a lot of times on this map, the team tries to rush one side big, so we were going to just try to hold against them on all sides and force them to make a move and make mistakes, so we send a counter rush north with a bunch of melee and some artery, and then we send just a ton of artery mid to hold off these side walls in the middle that you can see with just little forces with dwarfs.
Alright, so basically you're playing defensively in this game because you might not feel as confident playing this game than as Southern Parkians you imagine them to be playing. So you kind of, why would you think that they have the advantage in a game like this?
Flag
captured. Just I've played with all these players a lot. I know that it seems like player skill comes out a little bit more in light maps, and I felt they had a advantage overall. Like, I think a lot of players could match up with them, but when you look at the whole roster, 8 versus 8, I think they were deeper. So we wanted them to push and make a mistake where we could get an advantage.
And I just noticed somebody said, I didn't quite see who it was. They said, "Where is Milkman?" So where is Milkman?
Yeah, he wanted to play this game, and he just came online, and I forget what happened, but he ended up disappearing. So he was supposed to be in here.
So he was kind of a late addition to your team, if I recall. And in fact, I think a lot of your roster was kind of added after the fact.
Yeah, Milkman was added a little bit late. I can't remember who was all added late, but I think Pogi was, and maybe a few others.
And excuse me, do you feel that he actually contributed to your team at all? I mean, I noticed he played in only a handful of games, but what would you say his contribution was to your team?
Milkman, he usually always shows up. I've played with him last tournament, so yeah, he showed up all the time. So it's a pretty set thing that he's going to give you a planar advantage if you don't show with enough.
All right, so he's kind of like an extra. He's just kind of an extra body for your team, I guess.
Yeah, someone's pretty reliable to show
All
up for games.
Okay, excellent. So was there, who would you say is like the MVP for your team? Who's like, you know, off the cuff, right? Like who would you say is, if you don't mind indulging me?
All right. So I would say we had like 2 or 3 players that I would consider our best players who played really well this tournament. I think our best player throughout the whole tournament was Lizard King, and in the past he's got a lot of crap, I guess, for playing bad in tournaments, even though I thought he was really good and he showed up this tournament. But also Crom, I think he's as good as player as anyone in this tournament. He didn't show up very much for us though, so that hurt a little bit. And Monty is solid as well.
Alright, so I'm looking in the south. Looks like SP, Southern Parkians, managed to infiltrate that wall, that hole in the wall there. They managed to take out one dwarf, but you actually, your goal got kind of a free pass out of the deal.
Yeah, I probably should have done a little bit better there, but yeah, we got the free pass, so that was good.
Although, yeah, that goal is dangerously close. Oh, there. Nice shot taking out that dwarf. Oh, and yeah, so that pus goal does indeed end up going down. So that free pus, short-lived, but it seems as if you're going to be able to push the Southern Parkians back out of your backfield here. And nice pus there on those archers, using those satchels there as kind of a defensive measure.
Yeah, we get a pretty good start to this game on this rush on south, so things were looking good early.
Although while that's happening, your middle is basically getting more or less decimated.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were watching middle where the hole is in the wall, but one of our players ended up losing like all their units to 1 pus, so that hurt.
Oh no, I didn't see that. Oh well. Oh, it's so funny because sometimes I'll see things and other times I won't see them, and sometimes I feel bad for not seeing them, but whatever, doesn't really matter all that much. But next time that happens, draw my attention to it if you don't mind.
All right.
If you see something interesting happening that maybe I'm not looking at. Who was it, if you can tell us that?
Pretty sure it was Bogey. Yeah, it was Bogey. I see his getting corpses on the ground.
And Eastwind doing a fairly good job with that dwarf, taking out a lot of Lizard King's warriors. It's about even 50% or so. As your units from the south coming up into the mid and evening things out just a little bit. And now it's tied at 49%. They're going to try to snipe that dwarf, and they miss it with 1 pus, but they have another on the way. Craig.
Flag captured.
It's going to he's going to try to get your archers.
Flag captured. Flag contested.
Oh, that could have been a great shot there, but little delay on that.
Flag captured.
And if your team loses the archer advantage here, that's going to be, and that's probably not going to translate to a win, I would imagine.
Yeah, at this point in the game, artery is pretty important. with 5 minutes to go, and they would just probably pick us off slowly, which might happen, I forget.
Remaining.
Yeah, because dwarves are not all that effective against archers, although you know they could be.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems like Kron 1 is getting slowly picked off here by Giant Killer General and Browning, who are tag teaming. Oh, and then a couple more archers actually by Eastwind.
Flag.
Eastwind coming up with those.
Flag captured.
So
Yeah.
it's actually it was a pretty close. I mean, you guys were fairly close in numbers for much of the game, and you still are. Although you know that gap is widening. Can you tell us a little bit about how you felt at this point in the game?
When we were retreating for mid, when the percents are about even, we thought we had a pretty good shot of winning, but like I think you caught it. You just said their archers started picking our archers off and our artillery pretty slowly, but that was the turning point. So we still have a chance at this point, but we realized that we're gonna have to sneak units in their backfield and try to tag last second.
And these goals are kind of moving in, running interference, trying to oh, there we go. A Puss goes down and takes out a dwarf and 2 archers.
Flag captured.
And that's going to be a tough to recuperate from, right?
Yeah, that was
and that
pretty
other
much
dwarf,
game right there.
That other dwarf getting sniped by Craig's goal. Craig doing a pretty good job at making that happen for Southern Parkians. And yeah, I think these archers, there's just
Flag captured.
perhaps too many of them at this point for your team to be able to take on. And yeah, divide and conquer. It seems they have you on the west flag as well, I think. Although that was a pretty close. But Kruniak going to reinforce, and you have Roadkill has 3 warriors moving into that fight, but I don't know if they're going to get there in time
Flag
to be.
captured.
Nope. So beautiful
Flag
timing actually
contested.
by Southern Parkians. Although I think Roadkill is going to. Nice move there by Kruniak, dividing Roadkill's warriors up. I don't know if you're
Flag
watching this or not,
captured.
Yeah, I'm with
but
you.
but he's doing a fairly good job, kind of
Flag captured.
keeping that flag, keeping Roadkill
Flag
Roadkill's warriors
contested.
divided.
Flag captured.
But Roadkill's
Flag
going
contested.
to reinforce with
Flag
another warrior of his
captured.
own. And this is shaping up to be an interesting fight here. You know, a couple of these warriors are pretty well vetted. And it's 4-on-4, although Roadkill acting alone.
Yeah, I can't remember if they fight us straight up here or if they bring in the other forces just to roll us.
It seems like
Flag
they're on the
contested.
way. They're not that far off, but yeah, I think Kruniak is going to engage here and actually taking out a warrior. So
Flag
Roadkill
captured.
not able to hold on to the flag, obviously, but yeah, once those archers arrive, it's pretty much game over. So, do you have anything else you'd like to add about this game? That game number 3 that you played against the Southern Parkians?
Yeah, like this game was, I think it could have really gone either way about midway through the game, but then we lost all those units in a big group near mid that I was talking about. 1+ killed them all.
Yeah.
And then the Dorse we were watching as they were retreating, I think Honky said in chat, like, we lost 3 Dorse to 1 ghoul. So that was pretty good by Craig.
Right, yeah, I did catch at least some of that. Yeah, so looking at some of these numbers, looks like you only managed to have, well, you had negative damage. That's from healing those whites. What units did you take for yourself in this game?
I think I took a few Thrall, maybe like 5 Thrall and a Dwarf that died at the very beginning of the game. He got pussed at the southern wall.
Right, that was you. That was you, kind of at the very southern hole in the wall there.
Yep.
And so you had some Thrall kind of on defense, I imagine. So obviously you have some losses and not very many kills, because you didn't have too many units that could actually get kills, I guess.
Yep, that's one of the things that's not fun about capping. The way
Yes.
I cap, I usually see that negative damage a lot, just because I usually take the Thrall, the meat shields pretty much, take a lot of damage and do nothing.
Although in the previous match, I actually awarded you, you know, kind of arbitrarily, the MVP of the match, because of your captaining, and you actually did manage in at least 2 games to get significant damage with defensive units.
Yeah, I can't remember which games those were, but my guess is they were dark maps, because usually in dark maps you don't have pus, so...
Well, one of them was it Cracks in the Cloud Spine?
Okay, Crex was one, yeah, I remember. I think we had a bunch of dwarfs up on the wall or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Just bombing away at their army.
And if it wasn't for that, I think maybe you would have lost that game if you didn't have those dwarves. I did want to ask you if that was kind of your strategy going into the game. You know, just tag more flags faster, and then rely on your defense.
Yeah, it was. I think I saw a film of Thundercocks. They used the strats similar to that in a Mithril Cup like a couple years ago, so I went off that strat and added a bigger gold pack to it. And our plan was to get 2 quick tags and then just send everything back to base. Guard those last 2 flags.
And Thundercocks this year, obviously, the whole Timecox debacle. Were you following that at all?
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, that was a really unique moment. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that in a Myth World Cup. But anyhow, we're actually in a different match. I'm gonna look at some of these individual numbers. Roadkill, it seems, did probably the best for the Sentinels out of everybody else. 67 damage, 10 kills, and 6 losses. For the Southern Parkians, Giant Killer General managing to take kills and damage even though he was the captain. So you said that as a captain you prefer to take fewer units so that you can kind of keep tabs on what's happening on the entire on the entire map. But obviously Giant Killer General confident enough, I guess, to take some units of his own, some offensive units, and maybe get some body count damage in.
Yeah, I think General, what's his name? Giant Killer General.
Yeah.
I think he's the best cap in Myth right now, possibly the best player. So like, I think him being on a team gives their team a huge advantage every time, just because he is so good at doing that capping while taking a bunch of units at the same time.
So would you say that he earned that title because of his in-game awareness? Would you say that's the reason why, or what would you chalk that up to?
Yeah, he's got really in-game awareness, and he's just really good at clicking ability. I don't know how he does it, but he does a good job at what he does.
All right. Well, Giant Killer General, of course, on the Southern Parkians, and they. It looks like, I mean, I don't know, if we count the first game, then they won this match, and they are going to go up against the name changers, I think, in the bottom bracket finals. But if we don't count that first game, then we still have one more, so that's going to come up next. Thanks for joining me, everybody. It is NewMutator, and I'm joined once again by Osmo. We'll go ahead and see you in game number 4.